A time to be alive. Out of all the options of Earth destruction, let's talk about coronavirus. Honestly, I thought when the zombie apocalypse was going to happen, the Caribbean would have been secretly safe and liming and partying like normal. But here we are with our well-developed, connected self to the rest of the world with Corona. For those of you who don't know, after Carnival season in Trinidad is jazz season. There are a good bit of live performances, big and small, from March till like May. Besides the jazz scene, there are a whole bunch of other gigs happening, like weddings, concerts, going on tour, album recordings. So what does it mean when we have a pandemic that encourages us to stay away from large crowds, when your office is a large crowd, when your purpose to getting money involves people gathering? It means you're broke. I'm kidding. We were always broke. But seriously, no more rehearsals because there are no more gigs, which means there's no source of income. A moment of silence for those fallen gigs. Additionally, being a creative most likely meant that you may have also been a teacher and there's no school for a while. So, yeah, broke. I can't speak for the other islands, but Trinbago is taking an aggressive stance. And personally, based on the fact that we can't handle anything like what's happening in Europe right now, I agree with this approach. It 100% directly affects creatives. Well, everyone, except we can't continue working day to day from home. Or can we? All I'm saying is, if any time, now is the time to get creative. But from what I've seen, there's a lot happening. Virtual tours, free programs distributed by our favorite developers, and other means of entertainment made by creatives just like you and me. This is our time to shine. Personally, I don't see it as a time to panic. Maybe instead of overbuying, you can finally take this time to gather the money you owe me from that job that time. I don't know about you guys, but I've never been through a worldwide pandemic before, and I feel like we want to listen to the scientists on this one. By the by, when the Prime Minister was giving his speech today, did anyone else notice that not one single person coughed? It usually goes like this. But it was like this. Meanwhile, inside everybody's head, everyone is trying to figure out how to function when you can't really function. I think right now gives us that time we always crave, but we never have. So what about actually putting in the hours of personal practice? Or finally starting your website? What about getting into that program that you wanted to learn so badly? Make a short film with the ants in your yard. Use his downtime to charge up. You don't have to have a jam session to jam. Do like a virtual online challenge jam thing. If you think about it, we sort of got some form of grace period by having a forced break time to get even better at what we do. It's like finding a secret bonus level in a game, and when you return to the normal level, you're ready. Now don't get me wrong, obviously it is a terrible situation, but I'd like to share this perspective. Not only can we continue to be productive, but everyone is now constantly surrounded with all this heavy news. It'll help to lighten up the mood. This is your time to shine. I know people who have been on the go 24/7 and they now have an opportunity to slow down. Because by the way, did you know that a lot of creatives tend to get acid reflux just because we work at ungodly hours? So we eat at ungodly times, and when we do eat, it's fast food or crap food. Now we have that time to eat proper meals, start writing again, start that album, go back and complete that album. That's what I'm doing. Do things that actually are for you. We literally now have the time to mentally, physically, and creatively recharge. It only took a worldwide pandemic. But I am really excited to see the content that should be overflowing in the next few weeks. So while this greatly affects our livelihood, we don't really have much of a choice, to be honest. And I encourage you to get creative and use this grace period to your advantage. Respect each other so that we can protect each other by keeping your ass home. I'm gonna put a couple links in the description below that I thought were pretty helpful. And remember, practice social distancing. Good luck. In the midst of all this madness, I would like to say a huge thank you to Trinidad Express Newspapers, Kitchery, for the feature. Thank you, Wayne Bauman and Kimberly Wallace. You guys did a fantastic job. I want to also say thank you to everyone who read the article and reached out to me. It honestly means the world to me, and I can't thank you guys enough. So thank you.
Some excellent work there by Janine Rees, and very creative, I must say. And I join into the conversation, Leslie Ann Caton, filmmaker and events coordinator, really. And by phone, we have international Stephen, DJ. You're involved in concerts and music around the world. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Good, good, good. Very happy that you can join us here this morning. I don't know if you saw the video, but guys, we all know what's happening in the creative sector. It hasn't slowed down. It's come to a screeching halt, right? I'm gonna start with you, Stephen. What's the temperature like out where you are right now? What's happening in the industry? What's the industry?
In the industry right now, it's actually nothing moving. No wind blowing, no extra, nothing happening. Just stopped. What I have seen though is a lot of people trying to find creative ways to continue doing what they're doing. The only problem with that is that there's no income coming in from it. There's no gas.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is the period, as Janine said in the video, this is the time in the Caribbean, not just Trinidad and Tobago, but in the Caribbean, that you find tours happening, concerts, people moving from one carnival to the next. For example, if we speak about the performing artists and the videographers who work with them and so on. And speaking about film and events, Leslie Ann, you're based here in Trinidad and Tobago, and you're also very involved in the creative sector. What is your take on what's happening?
It really did hit us by surprise in the sense of, yes, like the video said, of course the Caribbean, we should be safe, but the reality is that when it did happen, we went into somewhat of a panic because, like you said, as a creative, we're now immediately unemployed. Yes, people would say, well, have your guys been saving like a nest egg? It's more than just that, is that what do we do now? So for me, I guess our concern is what are our avenues to make additional funds? Can we now do shows online? Can companies now partner with us and do online events or online shows or online entertainment to just find ways to now still make money?
In terms of sponsor.
Correct. So you could sponsor a segment, you could, provide that kind of income and just take us now online. And I guess that's the concern we do have. Where do we get our income? How long will this last?
Yeah.
I mean, everything stopped. It's the dry season. This is where we do all of our films.
Yeah.
We do events. I had to cancel the film, postpone the Film and Folklore Festival.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, and it really just, it makes you reflect on every insurance policy, every, your NIS, all these different things that as entertainers and creatives, we need to really focus on and put in place because, look, we have now a pandemic.
Yes, yeah. And speaking about streaming, Stephen, we've seen some of the international acts like John Legend and so on doing live streams internationally. You're involved in DJing specifically. What are some of the things that you guys are thinking of in terms of doing, perhaps creatively, to ride over this storm?
Well, for me, I'm involved in the back end of a lot of projects as well. So, what I've done recently, I don't know if many of you guys have seen, I've produced a documentary, a DJ documentary,
right?
A video, a short film, and I released it about a year and change ago. But, I've recently started promoting it again because, once you push and you get streams are sales as a source of income. Additionally, with that, I started reblasting some of the music links via my email list and all of that to get, to just get the streaming going again because that's also income. So that's one area that I've been focusing on since this pandemic has been going on.
The thing is that the music industry has migrated to online more than some of the other areas in the creative sector, things like Spotify and so on. So I think that should create some level of a buffer for persons in the music industry, not so?
Well, yeah. I mean, what we are lacking, though, especially in the soca industry or in the Caribbean industry, a lot of us don't understand, a lot of the people don't understand the value of the stream and what it really does. You find a lot of artists, sometimes they release their music via YouTube a lot. And YouTube is probably the least paying platform for stream out of all. But you find they put a lot of their energy there. Hey, I got to get my YouTube streams 1 million, 2 million views. But, YouTube doesn't pay nearly as much as Tidal or Spotify or iTunes,
Leslie Ann raised an interesting point, which I think is so creative in terms of partnering with, because we saw a stimulus package from the state yesterday. And I think part of it is also reaching out to the private sector to say, hey, we're all in this together. And the idea of producing online concerts that's sponsored by companies
Correct.
in the private sector. And I think probably not just with one particular artist, but with several, or even sponsoring online.
We can have online comedy shows. We can have online reality series. We can do so many things. Yes, you could be inside of a room, but I want, what we want to allow companies to know is that it's still with your corporate social responsibility, still with marketing. I mean, at the end of the day, right now, everyone is glued to their phones. So it is such, you have the entire world, at your fingertips, looking at whatever content you put out.
Like us right now.
Exactly. So it's a really, I guess it's a new way. It's a new wave. It's forcing us to really think outside the box. And we're creative, so we're strong, we're resilient, and we really want to encourage companies to really, to check out the proposal that we send. We're really trying to find ways to stay afloat, just like everyone else.
Now let's talk about the realities of being a creative and really working the industry. As I was saying earlier in the trending segment, that internationally, for example, there are persons who are going from a significant amount of income because they do project by project by project, and then to zero, really,
Correct,
literally zero, because there's no work. And it's different levels of zero and different levels of impact we were talking about during the break. Because if you're used to making a small amount of money, you're closer to zero. So that adjustment might not be as significant as if someone who's making a lot of money and then they go to zero. Right? So it's all about adjusting. Let's talk about living the creative life, whether it's in fashion, film, music, because it's really project by project. There's no fixed income.
Exactly. And like you said, it is project by project. And whereas it's easier for someone with a monthly income to put aside, specifically in the creative industry, we're at the whim of the promoter or the person who's negotiating. And for some reason, it's really hard to get your rate. So a lot of times we have to accept certain wages that, it's still harder for us to now say, okay, yes, I'm expecting this amount, I make less. So now we have to we're always managing with less, and we manage. But now that it's completely over, I have heard stories where promoters sending emails, they want back the deposit. So how is the entertainer to now find this deposit that maybe already split 4 ways?
Right.
To now
this
give
is
back
for the artist or for the
entertainer. The promoter is messaging the entertainer and telling them they want back the deposit.
The deposit for the show.
Correct.
Yeah.
We have even filmmakers who now the film isn't showing and they want back the money that they were paying the filmmaker to show the film.
Yes.
So we're dealing with, like I said, it's unprecedented, but it's really finding ways to manage now and even, okay, what do we do now? Where is the money coming from and how can we cope? And I guess that's where the main concern is for us.
One of the other things, Stephen, would be that persons would have planned their tours for the rest of the year, purchased tickets, booked hotels, and so have you come across instances like that, and what is the recourse in those cases?
Well, for me, I'm also a part owner in about 5 or 4 festivals, and what we're dealing with is you have a lot of persons are asking things like, okay, we see that this thing is not going to happen in the next month or so, the next 2 months. All right, are you moving it? And if so, when are you moving it to? So the challenge we're also having is that, okay, yes, some persons are asking for their money back there straight off the top, and then some persons are not. They're just asking when it's going to be. Right. But then you don't know when this is going to subside. You don't know when this thing is going to actually take a turn for the better.
Yes.
It definitely hasn't peaked yet. So it's just a thing we just have to play day by day, year by year, and just
and just ride it out. And just ride it out.
Yeah, I've been in conversations with four of the different festivals, I would say, and the partners. We're all looking at October, December.
Yeah.
And in some of the other groups that I'm in, DJ groups, I'm seeing people saying, well, this carnival is moved to October. So it's looking like October is going to be the main carnival month for this year, hopefully.
Yeah, well, we don't know because it's such a moving target, right? Which is what the World Health Organization keeps reminding us, that we can't hold on to fixed absolutes right now because everything is such a moving target. But I want to thank you, Stephen, International Stephen, for joining us there on the phone from the U.S. I believe you're in the U.S., yeah? You can never tell where you guys are.
Yeah, I'm currently in St. Lucia.
I thought I said it was either the U.S. or St. Lucia, but okay.
Yeah,
all right. Both, yeah. And as you're in St. Lucia, though, very quickly, I know I have to wrap. What's the mood like in St. Lucia? Because I think there are a couple of cases in St. Lucia.
Yeah, very, very quiet. the roads free. You know, no traffic.
Okay.
Everyone's really pretty much staying home and doing what they need to do.
Right.
There's a few people still working, and you know, of course, there's a little bit of chaos online. People trying to find out what to do, how they can survive, but it's the same as everywhere.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, International Stephen, for joining us on the phone. And when all of this is over, you still need to come and sit here and join us on the Now Morning Show. All right, thank you. That was International Stephen there on the line. And Leslie Ann, of course, thank you. And
Pleasure.
So many ideas. I know you are just a hub of creativity. So I know that you're going to write this out as well. But I really do like that proposal for partnering with the private sector to bring content online. You know, one of the things, though, we have to talk about is increasing the bandwidth, because with all the online streaming, it's kind of clogging up the bandwidth. But you guys will work that out. I know you will. All right, we're going to take in a few messages and come right back here on the Now Morning Show. We still have some more to go, you know, so stay with us.